Hi everyone, I want to take the time to just shoot this short video and a brief introduction of myself. I'm Deborah Simpson, and you've been receiving emails from me for quite a while. Maybe you've even gone to my blog and read some of my blogs, got some good tips and marketing information. Basically, I was born in Canada and then moved to Anaheim, California when I was about 2.5, and grew up there in Orange County for most of my life. I've always had a dream since I was 14 to be wealthy. There's a lot of reasons for that, but I won't get into them today. But I've been through an awful lot of marketing programs. I have 2 boys, and my dream was to find something where I could stay at home and be a mom to them and make a lot of money. Do some traveling, give them the things that they always wanted, and give them the education that they wanted, and I did everything. I think one of the first things I got involved with was, and many people did the same thing, is Amway. We got involved in Amway, and we were involved with them for 3 years. And all that it ever did was take us more away from our boys, because there were the weekly meetings on a Saturday. Then there was showing the plan through the week, babysitters to take care of them. The place we had to go on Saturdays was 2 hours away. And in, I thought it was 1993, we had that big earthquake in California, which they said was a 6.0, but we know that it was over a 9, because if it's over a certain magnitude, they have to shut down all sales taxes, and of course they're not going to want to admit that if they don't have any sales tax revenue coming in. But it devastated a lot of houses, and it took down a couple of freeways. One of the freeways that we actually used to get to our weekly meetings on a Saturday, so that forced us to pick an alternative route, which made it more of a 3 to 4 hour drive one way than a 2-hour drive. But we were committed. We bought into all of their philosophy, and do it anyway type of mentality. In any case, we didn't make very much money at it, but we were committed. But it was at the expense of our 2 boys. Meanwhile, we had a construction business, and I worked full-time and took care of the books for the construction business for my husband. I don't know where I got the energy. I guess it was just I was younger and driven at that point in time. But in any case, we ended up moving to Colorado, because we didn't want our boys to go to school in that kind of an environment. We always did live in rural areas, which was really awesome for them, but the last place that we lived in, the 101 freeway went right through the town. So that meant, as you know, brought in all kinds of trouble, and the schools, the gangs at the schools were getting bad, and the kids weren't allowed to wear certain colors because of the gangs, and I wanted both of them out of there before my oldest one went to 7th grade, but he did end up going to 7th grade there, and we were going to actually move to Montana. We loved Montana. We'd been there. The boys had loved Montana, but the only problem with that is the economy wasn't so great, and you had to have a job before you got there, but they wouldn't give you a job until you moved there, so we didn't want that for our boys. So we ended up moving to Colorado because our boys' friends' parents actually moved their boys to Colorado, and we visited them on a July 4th weekend, and we loved it. So, and the boys cried all the way home because they missed their friends. They were 12 and 7 at the time. We went home. I said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Let's start packing." So we packed up everything we owned. We sold everything that we could, and we were back in a month. From a July 4th weekend, we had rented a place, sight unseen, and we were back on August the 12th. From there, there have been many, many marketing opportunities that we both got involved with. We spent thousands of dollars and had little success, and we took regular jobs and started the construction company back up again. Excuse me. And as everybody knows, construction business is either feast or famine unless you own a huge company, but even huge companies have difficulties in construction. We ended up building our own house, and through that period of time, still working and still trying to find an online business that was reputable and that would give us a good living. And I worked my ass off, literally. I was working a job, and my husband was working the construction business, which was slowly dwindling away with the economy collapsing, and the industry did, as you know, bottom out completely, and we ended up losing our house in 2010. Well, with my husband not working, the boys are out of school, of course, and they're grown, they're on their own now, but at the time, I happened to land a really good job. It was a state job, but it was a grant-funded job also. And that meant there was a time limit on it, but with the option or with the possibility of obtaining more funding to continue the project. Well, there were several sector initiatives that applied for funding. When the funding ended, and the healthcare sectors is what I was involved with, and I was coordinator for Southwest and Western region here in Colorado. And there was another healthcare sectors initiative that actually popped up for the eastern part of Colorado, and we put in our grant proposals, and they ended up funding, of course, the larger section, the eastern. It's the metropolitan district, Denver area. They ended up funding their proposal instead of the southwestern western region, which is where I am, which is a rural area. They never did give us our results for our grant proposal to, point out the areas that we lacked or why we didn't get the funding. They never fessed up on that. So I ended up getting laid off, and that was well, you know what it's like to get laid off. And I was basically the consistent sole provider for our household, and I did get unemployment, and I had some retirement money in a fund, which helped to make things go through. I ended up investing. Well, I should tell you that I was on a 2-year sabbatical from the network marketing industry, because that was another area that was devastating. I never really made any real money at it, and I had enough. I spent hours and hours and hours on the telephone, calling prospects, researching, doing marketing, and maybe it was a time period, I don't know, but the company that I was involved in ended up changing its name basically, and I just said no more. And I don't know what happened to them. I know that they changed into something else, and the compensation plan was not the same, and the owners of the company, who knows what happened. I never did hear the whole story about that, and I can't say that that's typical, because there's a lot of marketing companies, network companies that are still in business, but I just decided I had enough. It was too many hours, too stressful. I was investing more than I was receiving. So back to the story, I decided that I had to do something different. I'm not getting any younger. I have a bachelor's of science in computer technology. I have a BA degree in business that I got when my kids were growing up. And yeah, we do a lot of things, especially when we're younger, when we have all that energy. But I decided I'm not going to go back to school. What's going on right now? Are people actually getting positions in the degree that they've studied for, and they put out all this money on tuition, and they've got student loans, and they can't even get a job in the degree that they studied for? And even if you do, the amount of salary that you make, the wages that you make, are not even enough to live on, much less pay your student loan back with. So I received an email from a gentleman, and it must have been about 5 or 6 times, I don't know. And I kept putting it off. I said, don't want to do that anymore. I had a lot of negative emotion over it because of all the money I put and all the time I put into it, and with the little that I received. I guess I found myself a weak moment, and I was thinking about it, and I decided, hey, it's only $25. Check it out. Well, the more I investigated it, the more credible I saw that it was. It was a company that was just getting off the ground at the time, and that was in, when I joined, it was in 2012, and the company launched in, I think it was end of October, beginning of November of 2011. So let's see, I got involved about the end of April of 2012. Now, I had lost my father at the beginning of April, and of the previous year he passed away, and of course we were still dealing with a lot of the legal issues and property issues, the normal stuff that you deal with. And then my mom got sick. She actually had a major stroke, and it was in May of 2012. So I wasn't doing a whole lot with the business because I was dealing with all of that. I had to go to California because that's where my family was, and emotionally it was really hard to wrap my head around the business, but and then she passed away, and well, actually we dealt with that for about 7 months, the nursing homes and things like that, and trying to make sure that she had good care, which is really difficult to do with the nursing home. We didn't have the means to bring her home. She was pretty bad. She couldn't speak, and she was on a feeding tube, and none of us could do it at that point. But in any case, she passed away in June of 2012. I lost my job, my job ended, I should say, in June of 2012, and there was a lot of emotional stuff going on. So when she passed away in June, we all dealt with that, and when I got back, I took a couple of weeks to just regroup, and I started getting back into the business again, and I've been doing it ever since. And all I have to say is this community of people that I'm involved with are the best. The love is really there. They are incredible company. We take care of each other, we teach each other, we help each other along. If you ever want to find some good friends, come look in here. It's just a bunch of great people. Well, that's about all I have to say for today. I'll have some more videos, and we'll do some tips and tricks, and you should at least check it out. It's only $25. You can just click on the button that's below the video here and get some information. And if you want, you can give me a call and we can talk. Alright, bye-bye for now.